It's time again for Shasta College football. It's nighttime.
All right, we're back. We took a week off of nighttime, and we're back with Coach Brian Hamilton, Aaron Williams here, Shasta County Sports, and what a good win, Coach. It was a strange night, but it's always good to get a win.
Oh, for sure. Build a little momentum. That's 2 in a row, and we needed that. We needed to win a home game. We played some tough ones over the last few, and it was nice to get that win on Hall of Fame night in front of our alumni and some special people that have played for us in the past. And it was a fun night of football. It was a strange night of football. It was a long night of football, but it was a good night of football.
And one of the things that I read is it snapped a 5-game home losing skid. And we talk all the time about what a great place Memorial Stadium is to play. And it's got to be nice, not only in the Hall of Fame game, but a home game, just to get that W and to go through all the adversity. I mean, both sides had to deal with it, but to deal with that adversity and to play as well as you guys just did, especially on the defensive side, that's got to be a boost heading into this week, right?
For sure. And, it's amazing because we've been good. I've been here for a long time. 2 different stints, and we've been really good at home. So that was really abnormal for us to go on a little skid like that at home, and actually during that time play pretty well and get some W's on the road. So it's kind of crazy, but it's a tough, this is a tough league, and you got to come in every night ready to play. But yeah, it was great to get that win and snap that losing streak at home. You got to win at home. You got to hold serve at home if you want to win the conference and if you want to have a chance to get in a bowl game and those things. So good win for us. We got to keep it rolling this week against a good Sequoias team.
You've coached a long time. I've coached a little bit of football. I've covered a lot of football. And one of the themes and one of the messages that always gets preached to the team is perseverance. And with the wacky weather, I was telling you at practice, it seems like we went straight from summer into fall. You've got a lightning delay, you've got rain that comes down like crazy. That's one of those messages that, hey, this is what I'm talking about, right? We've got to play through this.
Yeah, and in planning this year and really analyzing where we are as a program and the things we can do better, one of the areas I felt we could do better as a staff and myself as the head coach is plan for some of these things, like just the mental shifts and the ability to stay focused when you're tired or focused when it's not perfect. So we've been practicing throughout the week at times, different times. Like tomorrow we're going to go 5:15 a.m. We've been doing that for a few weeks. Our first road trip was up to play University, Southern Oregon University in a scrimmage. So we've done some things. I think that's really helped us to stay focused and to kind of not really matter, if we have a delay or what the weather is or whatever. And I think it's really shown some dividends for us for sure. And definitely, those lightning delays gave us a chance to regroup as a staff and things. But you always worry about your team coming out a little flat. You always worry about losing momentum. You see it all the time. You saw it in the NFL this weekend at halftime. It's crazy. 2 different games. So you always worry that when you come out that's going to happen if you're playing well before the break. But we did a nice job of continuing doing what we're doing, continuing playing good defense, which I was really proud of our defense. I'm sure we'll talk about that. But just keeping the momentum, staying focused, and staying the attention to detail. And that was our theme for the week. Our theme for the week was put 4 quarters together and attention to detail, because we feel like we've played most of the quarters this year, most of the halves well, but there's been 2 that have been really bad, and it's cost us a game, and it cost us a big lead at Delta. And so we really try to focus on making sure we rectified those.
One of the things we talked about after that first week loss was the third down conversions, I think 13 of 16, and you seem to got that button up. Against a pretty good DVC team, 6 points in the first half, 3 points in the second half. You never want to say you've solved things and fixed things, because it's always in flux and it's always kind of evolving and stuff like that. But goodness, you got to be really happy with the performance, especially Noah Benson with a couple picks and the way you guys got that defense off the field.
Well, going back to the Delta game at halftime, I really challenged the team and said, hey, we need to form an identity in the second half after we gave up a big lead in the first half, and we need to form an identity, and we need to start playing the type of football that allow us to be physical and dominant. And so they came out in that second half of the Delta game and gave up 1 touchdown. And then we gave up 1 in the first half on a long throw, which, that's going to happen when you're playing good football teams. But we were there, we were in the right position, and then kept them out of the end zone in the second half. So the last 3 halves of football, we played pretty doggone well. Some of that's attributed to, the guys picking up the schemes and doing a better job of attention to detail. Also, I think we've gotten good production out of our 2 big guys inside, Marcus and Johnny, and that's huge, having that size inside. We were able to shut down some things. And our defensive backs are doing a much better job of staying in coverage and things. And we get C.J. Williams back this week, and that's huge. We played for the last 2 weeks without him, and obviously in the return game and the defensive back field, that's really going to help us. But so I'm pleased. We did do a lot better on third down, forced turnovers, played physical, flow to the football. Withstood there, when you give up a big play, that's going to happen once in a while on a contested throw. And I was really proud of the way our guys played that game.
One of the things, I was on the airplane, I was watching the Shasta County Sports broadcast. It was hard to watch because I wasn't doing it, but it was fun to see. But one of the things that really stood out to me, I think it was third quarter or so, when Gabe Curtis ran and got lit up. Yeah. Thankfully he wasn't hurt, but he's on the sideline, and Gavin comes in for a play, but he's rallying around the troops. How important is that to have that kind of leader as your quarterback, be able to absorb a hit and still fire up his guys? Because you guys looked like one of those let's get him moments.
Yeah, in the last 2 weeks he's taken 2 shots that have the results have been ejections on targeting, and so he's a great player and just a physical guy. And I think when the team looks at your quarterback and knows that, hey, this guy is going to take shots and get up, be consistent, stay positive, and he's going to get it done when it matters, which he did there on a couple of those last drives. When our last touchdown drive, we converted 2 third downs, and then he got in on the run. It's only his 3rd game, obviously, as a college athlete. But he's building a reputation, building leadership qualities, and his play is getting better every week. And you can just see the team energized with knowing that their quarterback is not a finesse kind of a prima donna type player, that he's a nitty gritty in the trenches type guy.
And we've talked about it where he's the type of guy that's going to run like that. But over the course of a couple of weeks, we've seen him make some pretty good throws, and that's got to build confidence in your run game, because that loosens that up. And the guys on the outside, Trey Foster and Tyler Carey and those guys, there seems to be a connection with some of those guys.
Yeah, last week we didn't have to throw, especially when we got the lead and we were playing in kind of with some weather conditions and things. We didn't throw it as much, but we're effective in the passing game. Our receiving core is really good. We've got a big tight end. We protect well. And our quarterback can throw. All of our quarterbacks can throw it very well, actually, and so we feel confident in that if we have to go to that, and when we go to that, it's going to be successful. That first game against Reilly, I thought we did a really nice job hitting some really tough throws and big throws, in key moments. We pride ourselves on being physical. We want to be and I think anybody can watch us can know this, but we want to be a physical run team. That the quarterback runs, running backs run, sweepers run. We got multiple guys that can run, and we want to be physical. But by the same token, if you just abandon the pass defense, you're going to pay for it, because we can sling it, and we got guys that can catch it.
Well, and then, and as anybody who follows football knows, that it starts up front. And I think through 3 games, your big fellows have been doing a heck of a job, right?
Yeah, I think in a lot of phases too. One of them is being physical and being correct in assignments. That's huge. When you watch film, you're like, okay, are we doing, there's 2 phases of it. There's one is, are we doing the correct thing, and then are we applying correct techniques to that thing? Well, we're doing the right things most of the time, and we've played that defense we played last week was a helter-skelter. They're bringing 8, they're flying around, they're not they're not in any of the same places every consecutive play. So I'm really happy with our assignment grading out what we're doing. Techniques are getting better and better. Still see some breakdowns on film, as you do with all positions, but once we get those things better, and it's a young offensive line. There's only 1 sophomore on it. So I think every week we're going to get better. We've got some, we've got some momentum there, and we've got some guys that really love to play, and I think they love the scheme that they're playing in, because they can be physical and they get downhill, they can get nitty gritty, and not too many old linemen want to kick slide 50 times, pass pro 50 times a game. They may have to do it depending on the scheme they're in, but most of them want to put their hand in the dirt and get physical and have fun. I mean, that's why they're playing O-line. So I like our guys up front, and I think we'll continue to get better.
You got the roadie this week. You got probably the longest roadie of the week or the year, right? Down to Sequoias. Talk a little bit about kind of transitioning out of that nice win into a business trip.
Oh, for sure. And again, I mean, one of the reasons why we went to Southern Oregon, and one of the reasons we didn't spend the night at Delta, because we could have if I wanted to, was just to get that nitty gritty business attitude on the road. Just that, hey, this isn't going to be finesse. We're gonna get up early and we're gonna do our thing and stay focused. And so we're gonna go down to Visalia. We're gonna spend the night. But our guys, I think, I don't worry about how we travel. I think we're going to be dialed in. I really feel like we're going to be fine there. But COS is a very good football team. They're 2-1. They beat a very good Butte football team in week 1. They beat Delta last week. So they're a good football team. We played a tough one with them last year, lost a 1-pointer. It's going to be a good football game, but we have to bring our A game, because that's a good football team we're playing down there.
And you mentioned Butte. Butte beat City College San Francisco last week. This is a big time opportunity for you guys, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a crazy right now. I mean, there's so much parity. If you start looking at comparative scores, which I know people do, it gets you in trouble. I mean, you look at DVC beats Fresno, and then Fresno goes and beats ARC this week by 30 or something. Every week's a different thing. ARC is a good football team. So, I mean, every week's a different thing, I mean, Butte loses to College of Sequoias and then puts the wood on Frisco. So you start doing comparative scores, and a lot of times you can do that. But I think right now there's so much parity that you can't do that. But we do know this. We do know Sequoias is a really good football team. They got a tremendous quarterback. Same kid that was there last year. He's a Division I player. I mean, he's really good. They've got good skilled players. They're well coached. We're playing at their place. We're going to play at 11 o'clock in the morning, so it's an early wake up call for everybody. So, we've got to continue the momentum. We know it's going to be tough. We expect a very nitty-gritty, tough football game. And I think we thrive in those conditions, but we're going to need to be able to beat them.
Coming off a nice defensive win like that, how do you tell your guys to keep it going without a swelled head, I guess?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think it starts at the top, and I don't talk about myself that often, but that's not our style. Our style is punch the clock, go to work. We're going to get up, like I said, we just got off the field at 7 p.m. We're going to be on the field tomorrow at 5:15 a.m. We're blue collar. That's how we want it. So anybody that has their head swelled after 2 wins is not listening to the message that I'm preaching. But it is a factor that you got to, you can't get too happy with the past. Like I told the team on Monday, a win is always in there. It's always there for the history books. They can never take it away from you, but it's always in your rearview mirror. You better focus on the future. And our guys are. I think they're excited to have CJ back, excited to have Jacob back. Excited to have a road trip or to spend the night. There's some camaraderie and some team building stuff that happens on those kind of long road trips. We're looking forward to it, but when we get down there and get a W, that'll be a really big win for us because, like I said, and I know I said a couple times here, but Sequoia is a good football team, and we know it's going to be a big challenge.
Yeah, it's an interesting schedule quirk. You've got a roadie, then you got a roadie, then a bye week, and you won't be home again until I think the middle of October. Is this kind of the meat of the schedule where you kind of say, all right, we need to buckle down and 2 wins are great, 1 win's pretty good, but we need to come home on the top side of the...
Yeah, I think personally that, I don't even look, I mean, those are all accurate statements, but for me personally, I think it's more of just every day getting better at what we're doing. I think we're finding out what our identity is, who our identity is and what we're about. We came into this year, recruited a class of players, and came in this year with an offensive scheme and a defensive scheme that we were confident in, that was more, physical, more what we felt like we could recruit and execute on the field and compete with some great football programs. And I think we're really kind of finding out who we are. So for me, it's we need to get down there and continue doing what we do, which is be physical up front. Big guys play well, run the ball well, establish the tempo of the game on offense, and then continue doing what we've done over the last 3 halves of football and defense, which is play physical up front, put pressure on the quarterback, and force some turnovers, and limit the big plays, win third down. So that's more I'm looking at. But if we can go get 2 wins in the next week, that's fantastic. Going into conference, going into the bye, we're going to have to play very well to get both wins, but we're definitely capable of it. But yeah, we want to get a couple road wins would be awesome, and get on that bye week as conference right around the corner, and we've got a very tough conference.
Essentially, take care of today, and then tomorrow's takes care of itself. Right?
We're a young football team, and we're not. We'll never be good enough. But we certainly aren't good enough right now to start looking at the schedule and going, well, that's a W, that's a W. That's I look at, frankly, and I know it's cliche, but this is the way I am. I'm looking at tomorrow's 5:15 a.m. practice, going, okay, we got to get better tomorrow's practice. We got to execute these certain things better, and we got to make sure before we get on the bus to head to Sequoias that we're buttoned up in a few areas.
That's right. You guys are on the road to Sequoias, 11 a.m. kickoff on Saturday. Follow Shasta County Sports. We will probably be tweeting out scores and giving you all a recap, and then we'll catch up for you next week. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys, and hopefully we can talk next week after another win.
You've been listening to Nighttime with Brian Hamilton. I'm Aaron Williams for Shasta County Sports. Nighttime is a Shasta County Sports production brought to you by Shasta Orthopedics.